if this were happening in any other country right now, I promise you, I'd be on the air calling it a coup.
Everyone's talking about USAID. What is USAID? It's ultimately, I suppose, a foreign aid proposition where American taxpayer dollars are used around the world to help or aid people. But is it as simple as that? Is this yet another one of the stories that points to the fact that when it comes to the media relationship with globalist products, there's this great ability to make the agenda of the globalists seem somehow philanthropic and gentle and beautiful and necessary? Is USAID simply a way to rob and control the American taxpayer and to fund peculiar globalist pursuits that are of dubious moral nature? Certainly Mike Benz believes that's the case. He's been speaking to numerous people, including Joe Rogan, about that. So let's look at USAID, its reach and its influence, its control over media, its control over your tax dollars, and is it one of the observable mechanisms of deep state power? And was Trump just elected on a significant mandate to address, attack, and to some degree ameliorate that type of deep state power? Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat as we get into this story. Certainly, Joy Reid may have told more truth than she intended to when she said that a kind of coup is taking place when it comes to the attack on USAID. Let's have a look at that.
But we begin tonight with a full-on crisis in our democracy, as federal workers are literally locked out of their offices while operatives working for a private citizen essentially take over our government.
It's a crisis! A crisis! What is it? A government official is locked out of his office. That's not a crisis. Things like that happen to me all the time. That's just like you've lost your keys, you've dropped them, you're locked out of your office. That's, is there a window open? That's a minor inconvenience. But what that minor inconvenience is evidence of is that they mean business, and it seems that they're planning to govern in the way that they campaign. Whether you agree with them or not, you have to recognize that a continuum between the will of the people and the actions of the governing is precisely what we think we mean when we say electoral democracy. So he said he was going to sack a bunch of deep state apparatchiks. He's sacking a bunch of them. Surely that's a good thing. Let me know in the comments if you agree.
Their tactics include turning off our federal websites, deleting government-funded research that you, the taxpayer, paid for.
This is brilliant. I would see that as a massive misjudging of the temperament of the nation. Who are the people that go, hey, you turned off a government website. We hate the government. Everyone hates the government. How dare you? How dare you turn off a government website? And then like the talk of research. How many of us are kind of giddily drunk on our awareness that taxpayer dollars are not spent on things that meaningfully benefit your life and advance your spiritual condition? Like, whether that's something as mundial as the pothole problem or as significant as billions of dollars of aid being sent to a foreign war when we think that some of the military hardware likely gets sold on elsewhere. In short, even at the most local level, do your governments have your best interests at heart? Are they improving your schools, the health of your children? Are they curtailing and controlling the excesses of rampant corporate forces who want you to eat sugary, red-dyed filth and pump yourself full of pharmaceuticals that probably make you worse? Joy!
To impose speech codes, bullying news organizations by demanding interview transcripts, implementing an FBI purge, locking federal workers out of their computers, and even turning them away at their offices while giving themselves, without congressional or any other authorization, full access to the personal data of tens of millions of Americans.
But we've all just spent the last 10 years learning the degree to which government agencies spy on the citizens of their countries and share information. That's Edward Snowden, Julian Assange. We now know that our government does exactly that. We now know that centralist neoliberal governments, precisely like the one we just evaded and avoided, in particular, would have used various means, primarily crisis, to implement unprecedented citizen management. They want social credit score, they want you vaccinated, they want the information that you have access to controlled. We know all of this. Surely Joy knows it too.
Including Social Security recipients, FBI agents and officials, military and government contractors, and every single employee of the federal government. All of that data in private hands that you did not authorize, even if you voted for Donald Trump. This as Trump installs unqualified minions at the heads of every federal agency, knowing that they wouldn't stop this even if they knew how. At least when he's not threatening multiple trade wars or...
Now at least we know that the left's not going to do something that I thought it might do. This, a kind of radical mea culpa. Our whole movement's fallen apart because we got captured by commercial interests and got sort of alloyed to deep statism and systems of control. We're going to change. We're going to change. We're going to represent ordinary working people. We're going to be better. We're going to learn. We're going to oppose corporate globalist power. We're going to get rid of ridiculous leaders with fancy fine haircuts and outrageous personal lives. Just a few references to, I don't know, Trudeau, Macron, Keir Starmer, that class of leader. We're going to lose them and we're going to get back in touch with what matters, the values of our people, the nature of our land, our purpose here on earth. They're not doing that, are they? They're just going to go, well, these guys that you've put in charge, they're actually locking people out of their offices and my website doesn't work anymore and that's pretty appalling.
Vowing to launch a new age of American imperialism by colonizing the indigenous people of Greenland and the Panama Canal, all while congressional Democrats issue strongly worded letters, plus holding a press conference today, and congressional Republicans sit back and let the federal government they work for collapse all around them, while they occasionally beg Trump for tariff mercy for their states. If this were happening in any other country right now, I promise you, I'd be on the air calling it a coup.
Amazing. So, USAID, by the reckoning of Joy Reid and MSNBC et al., is a kind of exemplifier of global values that we should aspire to. Oddly, bizarrely, a claim that what it is altruism in motion. America has a manifest destiny, and America's purpose is to save the world and to pay for the salvation of the world through government. Through government. The American government should accrue your wealth and then go around the world helping people. Now, that seems unlikely and sounds untrue. What government would you ever trust with such an endeavour, except for the most holy government conceivable, a council of saints? So if USAID were what Joy Reid were claiming, it would still be a peculiar claim because you would be granting an extraordinary spiritual power to governments that don't generally behave in a spiritual way. They act in sort of mechanical, administrative, bureaucratic and controlling ways, don't they? Would you agree with that? Let me know in the comments and chat. But that's not what USAID is. It's a coup machine. It's a spying machine. It's a subterfuge machine. Here's Mike Benz, the expert in deep state matters, the man who knows the anatomy of the blob better than most, on Joe Rogan, explaining USAID to Joe Rogan. Let's get this in foundationally. So we've heard Mike Benz describe it, because you know me, I can get abstract.
Department, USAID, and the National Endowment for Democracy.
Don't call it USAID, Mike, because it's actually USAID. Yeah, I hate to tell you, Mike, that actually you've fallen into their trap there. You've fallen into their trap because you've made it sound like, do they know it's Christmas or heal the world? Yeah, it's not heal the world. This is not Michael Jackson and Diana Ross and everyone saying, heal the world, make it a better place. This is not that. This is funding crazy wars abroad. This is surveillance. This is the behemoth. So, Mike, you fell into a bit of a trap there. Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in Phoenix, believe that we are endowed by our Creator to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness from the Constitution. A Christian university, eh? GCU believe in equal opportunities and equip everyone to serve others in ways that promote human flourishing, creating, as they believe, a ripple effect of transformation. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctoral degree, GCU's online and on-campus learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique goals. Why don't you learn a bit more? With over 340 academic programs as of March 2024, GCU provide you with a path to fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Wow, it's a very profound goal, isn't it? Because everything we do is about self, and this is about service. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable education. Visit gcu.edu/Russell. That's visit gcu.edu/Russell. 2 S's, 2 L's. Give it a try. Thanks.
Now USAID is, a very notorious. It's sort of a switch player. There's no aid in USAID, by the way. That's your brain is being tricked when you see the phrase USAID.
That's why I won't call it that. I never do. I call it USAID. Helps me get over that trap.
It's not an aid organization. The aid in USAID stands for U.S. Agency for International Development. It is developing internationally around the world all of the institutions that the State Department needs to use.
I actually call it USAID because it F's you and kills you if you mess around with it. Yeah.
So when they are capacity building activist groups in a foreign country, that's because the State Department wants those activists there. Now, USAID, for the first time in its history, it was created in the early 1960s by JFK, 1961. It was created because you had all of this intelligence, statecraft, and military support and logistical aid that was tripping over itself, basically. The military would be funding, would be running aid to certain groups in the region. The State Department would be running aid to certain groups in the region. The intelligence community would, and there was no sort of central coordinator of those capacity building operations. So USAID, by the way, is a $50 billion budget. The entirety of the intelligence community is only $72 billion. So it is more than the CIA and more than the State Department.
Wow.
And aid is basically USAID is effectively a switch player to assist the Pentagon with on the national security front, to assist the State Department on the national interest front, or to assist the intelligence community on a sort of clandestine operations front. So,
wow. It sounds like a pretty dark and expensive little operation by Ben's brilliant reckoning. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted that USAID is, to some degree, funding gain-of-function technology. So here she says, in response to this post here, CIA tried to pay off analysts to bury findings that COVID lab leak was a whistleblower. So USAID, EcoHealth Alliance, and the CIA were all involved in funding and creating COVID-19 in the Wuhan lab. No, which led to a killing of millions of people, forced COVID vaccines that also killed and injured millions of people, and the worst abuse of government overreach in our lifetimes. And they made American people pay for it. If true, crimes against humanity. Nice little caveat and disclaimer at the end. And also, could you sort of, I started to want to say it in Marjorie Taylor Greene's voice. So USAID, I mean, it should be shut down, no? Like, a lot of people are claiming that there's a recklessness to Trump and Doge in the dismantling of state apparatus and that it will augur a new and crazed chaos. But so many people distrust government so deeply that the destruction of government and these institutions is something that we crave. And maybe that's just a progression of what we felt about Trump 2016. Or not me, actually. I didn't see this in those terms then. But what people felt. At that point, it was a kind of inchoate rage. Like, we hate the government. I love this dude that's just in the primaries going to diss and cuss Jeb Bush, and then against H. Clinton, just going to bam, bam, you'd be in jail. I want to hear that. Now that it's evolved and it's in its second term and indeed is alloyed to legitimate and corporate figures like RFK, what we're beginning to see is, state dismantling. People want to see that. That's not like, our precious state. Like when Joy Reid tried to evoke that idea, USAID, this is like a coup. Well, maybe inadvertently she said something truer than she intended to. Or, perhaps as a title, is Joy Reid like a stopped clock, accidentally right twice a day when she claims that getting rid of USAID is a kind of coup? Yeah, it's a coup. It's a coup against deep state interests. And the only way you can do that is from within government. So when the left claims that this is terrible and wring the hands, no one trusts government with that kind of power, that kind of money, and that kind of moral duty, because they don't trust the morality of the individuals that make it up, nor their agenda. And if you ask me, they're right. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.